is Darren Hazelwood, again the CEO of Panther Metals. Good to be speaking to you again, Darren, so soon after the announcement that you had acquired that Winston Lake project we talked about in detail last time we spoke. But you've announced today a collaboration with Fulcrum Metals. So just set the scene for us on this. What's this all about?
Yeah, it's the tailings, Mark. In prior interview, I'd mentioned that there was potential for low-hanging fruit at Winston.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to go into more detail. And I said at the time there'd be low-hanging fruit with no drilling. And that's exactly what this is. We've got the historic mine numbers from the feasibility study from 2021. It was mined from the mid-80s to the mid-90s. We know that the gold recoveries in the zinc, and it's a zinc-dominated mine, they topped out at less than 20% of the gold that they knew was in the ore. It got as low as 16%, and then they stopped recording the gold recoveries. The only place that gold could have gone that remained, which was a vast majority of it, is into the tailings pond.
Yeah, okay. Well, you did mention low-hanging fruit. That's always a good place to go in any business, really, going for the low-hanging fruit. So this is investors familiar, perhaps, with Fulcrum Metals, of course, have that exclusivity agreement with Extract. That's, of course, the tailings reprocessing that they're really focusing on now. So, I mean, the obvious thing is, how quickly can you get going with this then? Have you any idea what it could look like numbers-wise?
Well, look, we know that the historic production from Winston was over 50,000 ounces of gold in that period. If the recoveries, let's just use 30% to be on the conservative side. If the actual recoveries were 30% from that processed ore, that means 70% went into the tailings, which would mean that you've got over 100,000 ounces of gold potentially in that tailings pond.
Right.
At today's price, look, gold at the time, around 250 pounds an ounce, now 3,400. You times that by 100,000 ounces, that's 340 million American dollars sitting effectively at surface. Fulcrum are the experts. We have to be aware of our capacity as we drive this business across all fronts. And you can't forget also that tailings pond will contain silver, copper, a little bit of zinc, but really it's the precious metals that you go for. They're the ones that they struggle to recover before. We don't know a lot about the ore in that tailings pond, but refractory ore, we know the extract technology at the Fulcrum site has returned about 60%.
Yep.
So an extraordinary number, and definitely against the backdrop of a project that's got such strong economics. Before you even start, no one's ever looked at this. It's something that I had in mind from the very beginning, and it's only now that I'm able to talk about it. It's not a game changer, but the addition of such valuable material on top of already really strong economics make this an incredible opportunity.
And of course, there are benefits. We've spoken to Ryan at Fulcrum quite a lot about the environmental benefits, cleaning up the areas, a lot of support from the local Ontario government there. This is low-hanging fruit, as you say. If you can get going fairly quickly with it, you can get into cash flow fairly quickly, which, again, getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but that can then be deployed to the bigger picture at Winston. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, look, the environmental side is an absolute no-brainer. It's very high on the agenda for the Indigenous communities and for the Ontario government. They've got a lot of these these historic mine sites in Ontario, and being part of that process, that's only going to be viewed as a positive. And in terms of next steps and cash generation, look, you've got an extraordinary figure already potentially contained within these tailings. We know from the feasibility study conducted in 2021 that the mine build here is in Canadian dollars 150 million, and the potential gold is already pushing nearly $500 million Canadian dollars. So it becomes a no-brainer. You tap the low-hanging fruit that has a positive impact across the whole mine site. It's a good day for our shareholders.
Final question, Darren. When can you start?
We're already having those discussions. We'll be talking to the market shortly.
Darren Hazelwood, CEO of Panther Metals, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.